Welcome to Creepshow, where the echoes of humanity's darkest chapters reverberate in chilling detail. Tonight, we confront the harrowing legacy of genocidal riots, violent eruptions of hatred and persecution, aimed at erasing entire communities. Pogroms, though less methodical than full-scale genocides, leave devastation in their wake. These acts of terror, born from prejudice and power, stand as stark reminders of what happens when humanity turns on itself. So dim the lights, steady your breath, and prepare to journey through 10 of history's most atrocious genocidal riots. Number 10. The Alexandrian Riots, AD 38. In the bustling city of Alexandria, Egypt, under Roman rule, tensions between the Jewish and Greek populations simmered until they erupted in AD 38. Governor Flaccus, seeking favor with Emperor Caligula, targeted the Jewish community, stripping them of their rights and labeling them foreigners. Hatred escalated into open violence. Greeks desecrated synagogues by erecting statues of Caligula, forcing Jews into ghettos where disease ran rampant. Murders became commonplace, and mobs razed over 400 Jewish homes. The atrocities ended only after Flaccus was exiled and murdered, his demise ironically mirroring the pain he inflicted. The Alexandrian riots stand as an early and brutal example of religious hatred weaponized by political power. Number 9. The Lviv Pogroms, 1941. In July 1941, Nazi Germany occupied Lviv, Ukraine, spreading propaganda that Jews had aided Soviet atrocities. This unfounded accusation fueled Ukrainian nationalists to join German forces in unleashing violence on Lviv's Jewish population. The first pogrom, spurred by Soviet prison massacres, saw the systematic killing of over 6,000 Jews. Ukrainian militias marked houses and rounded up victims under the guise of honoring a nationalist figure. Many were raped, tortured, and executed in the streets. By the time Soviet forces reclaimed Lviv in 1944, fewer than 1,000 Jews survived. The Lviv pogroms remain a haunting reminder of how propaganda can ignite unimaginable cruelty. Number 8. The Kielce Pogrom, 1946. Post-World War II, the Jewish survivors of Kielce, Poland, sought to rebuild their lives. But on July 4, 1946, a 9-year-old boy's false claim of Jewish abduction ignited a deadly riot. An angry mob stormed a Jewish shelter, killing 42 and injuring dozens more. The violence, rooted in centuries of anti-Semitic blood libel myths, led to mass fear among Poland's Jews. Over 75,000 fled the country in the aftermath, joining a larger migration known as the Briha Flight. The Kielce pogrom is a chilling reminder that hatred, once planted, can endure even in the ashes of genocide. Number 7. The Hebron Massacre, 1929. Hebron, a city sacred to Jews and Muslims, became the scene of horrific violence in August 1929. Fueled by religious tensions and misinformation about Jewish threats to Islamic holy sites, Arab mobs attacked the city's small Jewish community. Homes were burned, synagogues desecrated, and nearly 70 Jews murdered. Despite warnings of potential violence, British authorities stationed only a single policeman in the city. Survivors fled to Jerusalem, leaving Hebron devoid of a Jewish population for decades. The Hebron massacre marked a pivotal moment in the worsening Arab-Jewish relations in Palestine, with repercussions that echo to this day. Number 6. The Lisbon Massacre, 1506. In April 1506, despair gripped Lisbon, Portugal, as droughts and epidemics ravaged the land. New Christian Jews forcibly converted to Catholicism became scapegoats for the suffering. It began with a church dispute, when a new Christian dismissed a supposed miracle as an illusion. Furious worshippers dragged him outside and beat him to death. The mob then turned on the city's Jewish population, burning homes and massacring between 1,000 and 4,000 people over 3 days. Though King Manuel I punished some perpetrators, the massacre underscored the fragility of forced assimilation and the enduring power of religious hatred. Number 5. The 1984 Sikh Massacre. In the wake of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's assassination by her Sikh bodyguards, India erupted into chaos. Fueled by political leaders and police inaction, Hindu mobs targeted Sikh communities across New Delhi. Armed with voter lists, attackers hunted down Sikh families, killing over 2,800 people and leaving entire neighborhoods in ashes. The violence, orchestrated under the guise of retaliation, was later revealed to be systematic and state-backed. The Sikh massacre remains a scar on India's conscience, with calls for justice still echoing decades later. Number 4. Black July, 1983. Sri Lanka's ethnic tensions exploded during Black July, a week-long pogrom targeting the Tamil minority. Sparked by the Tamil Tigers' ambush of a government patrol, Sinhalese mobs descended on Tamil neighborhoods with voter lists in hand. Over 4,000 Tamils were killed, many burned alive. Thousands more fled, fueling a diaspora that continues to remember July as a time of mourning. The violence escalated into a brutal 26-year civil war, claiming over 100,000 lives. Black July illustrates how state complicity can transform a riot into a nationwide tragedy. Number 3. The Adana Massacre, 1909. In the Ottoman Empire, Armenians were often scapegoated for political and economic woes. In Adana, tensions boiled over in April 1909, as Muslim mobs supported by Ottoman troops attacked the city's Armenian population. The massacre, which killed 30,000 Armenians and decimated Adana's Christian community, was a prelude to the Armenian genocide that followed 6 years later. Despite investigations, the perpetrators faced no significant consequences, emboldening future atrocities. The Adana Massacre stands as a grim rehearsal for systematic genocide. Number 2. The Rhineland Massacres, 1096. The First Crusade brought devastation not only to the Holy Land, but also to Jewish communities in Germany's Rhineland. Fueled by apocalyptic zeal, Christian mobs sought to convert or kill Jews along their journey to Jerusalem. In Mainz and Worms, over 1,100 Jews were slaughtered. Many chose suicide over forced baptism, preferring to die on their own terms. Contemporary accounts describe the massacres as divine vengeance, reflecting the deep-seated anti-Semitism of medieval Europe. The Rhineland massacres marked the beginning of centuries of persecution that would follow Jewish communities in Europe. Number 1. The I Pogrom, 1941. In June 1941, Romanian authorities, allied with Nazi Germany, unleashed a pogrom against the Jewish population of EIE. Using fabricated claims of Jewish collusion with the Soviets, troops rounded up Jews en masse. Over 12,000 were executed in a single day, while thousands more were packed into trains without food or water. Many suffocated or succumbed to heat and dehydration, turning the death trains into mobile tombs. The II pogrom, one of the most infamous atrocities of the Holocaust, laid bare the horrific depths of state-sanctioned hatred. Closing thoughts. These riots remind us of the devastating consequences of hatred and prejudice. History's darkest moments serve as a warning of how easily the spark of division can ignite an inferno of violence. Thank you for joining us on Creepshow, where we uncover the chilling truths of humanity's past. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for more haunting tales, if you dare.